Hi, boys and girls. Miss Watson's here again. Put my gum over there. I was chewing gum. So today I went to Greenfield Village. Do you remember going to Greenfield Village in the fall with me and your classmates and some of your parents? And we had tea at the garden, so it was really nice. So I hope you're here doing some fun things all around the city too. Maybe you've even gone on vacation, who knows? So I want to head over in our favorite poems, and I want to go to, let's see, I guess it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, pages 5 and 6. It has The Porky and James on it. Picked that poem today for you, James. And Mirror, Mirror and Spoiled Brat. So let's start with The Porky. Oh, who will wash the porky's ears, and who will comb his tail, and who will shine his long sharp quills and manicure his nails? Oh, Willie may wash the porky's ears, and Carol may comb his tail, and Sidney may shine his long sharp quills, and I'll go down for the mail. So he's saying, I'll get the mail while everyone else is doing the really dangerous stuff. The next one is called James. So I hope you're listening, James. This one's for you. There once was a hamburger whose name was James. What? Didn't you know that hamburgers have names? Well, they do. Some are Norbert and some are Neil. Some are Llewellyn and some are Lucille. Some just have nicknames like Bunky or Bean. Others have long names like Rose Mavorine. Like you, each one's special and no one's the same. So please, before you bite, be polite. Ask their name.
And what's your name?
That's silly. The next one is called Mirror, Mirror, and it's the queen talking to the mirror. So when I say queen, that's what she's saying. Mirror, that's what the mirror is saying. Queen. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Mirror. Snow White, Snow White, Snow White, I've told you 1,000,000 times tonight. Queen. Mirror, mirror on the wall, what would happen if I let you fall? You'd shatter to bits with a clang and a crash. Your glass would be splintered, swept out with the trash. Your frame would be bent, lying here on the floor. Mirror, mirror. Hey! Go ahead, ask me just once more. Queen. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Mirror. You, it's true, the fairest of all is you. You. Woo! The next one is called Spoiled Brat. Raise your hand if you're a spoiled brat out there.
I'm just spoiled.
I don't know. I think, oh, yep. Some of you are being truthful.
I'm just spoiled.
Spoiled brat. The spoiled brat cut a hole in her hat. The spoiled brat put a coat on the cat. The spoiled brat got into a spat about whether a rodent's a mouse or a rat. The spoiled brat broke a bike with her bat. The spoiled brat told the policeman to scat. The spoiled brat said her sister was fat and sat on her birthday cake till it was flat. The spoiled brat, she cussed and she spat. The spoiled brat pulled the wings off a gnat. The spoiled brat fell into a vat, got cooked up for dinner, and that was that. Woo! But in spite of the pepper, the salt and the sage, the onions and garlic and oil, no one would touch a bite of that brat because she was so spoiled. There's the spoiled brat in a pot of oil and that. Those were fun. So today we're going to read chapter 5, and remember at the end of today's reading, you should then be able to finish up the skill of cause and effect. So remember, a cause and effect is where one thing makes something else happen. So as you read, you're going to look for the missing pieces of the cause and effect relationships below. So for example, they want to know what caused John to eat his old glove. That was in chapter 4. So if you forgot, go back and read chapter 4. Then they want to know, because John's pencil turned into chocolate, what happened to him. This part's going to be in the chapter we're reading right now, so chapter 5. So on chapter 5 is on page 55, and when we last left John, he had made his friend Susan mad because he took a bite of her coin to see if it was real and turned it into chocolate. So she's pretty mad because she thinks it's a trick. Chapter 5. John hung up his coat, got his notebook and pencil out of his locker, and sat down at his small table just in time for the second bell, when Miss Plimsoll walked silently into the classroom. As soon as she appeared in the doorway, all the chattering and scuffling stopped. The 20 boys and girls sat straight in their chairs and looked straight ahead at the clean blackboard. "Good morning, children," Miss Plimsoll said. "Good morning, Miss Plimsoll," the class answered respectfully. Miss Plimsoll sat at her high desk, blinking her eyes as she surveyed the room. Then she opened a little drawer in her desk and pulled out a spectacles case from which she took her reading glasses. She removed her long-distance glasses and put on her short-distance glasses, snapped shut the spectacles case, replaced it in the drawer, shut the drawer, tilted her head forward so she could look over the glasses of her nose, like this. "This morning, children, we are going to have an important test." There were some groans and a few oohs and ahs. Miss Plimsoll lifted up one of her hands in silence and restored the class instantly. "No complaining, please," she said sternly. "This test will show me how well you have been learning your arithmetic this year. It will be a short one. I'm going to write just 4 problems on the board. I shall expect you to solve them all swiftly and accurately, to write your answers neatly. You will place your paper in front of you now. You will write your name at the top right-hand corner, and then you will place your pencil beside your paper, sit back in your chair, and wait until I give the signal to begin to work." Miss Plimsoll turned to the blackboard and began chalking up the test problems. Tests always made John nervous. Besides, his lips were feeling dry, and the taste of chocolate was strong in his mouth. He raised his hand. "Yes, John?" Miss Plimsoll asked. "Please, may I go and get a drink of water, please, Miss Plimsoll?" he asked in a small voice. "Very well, hurry back. We're going to start in a few minutes." John gracefully slipped out of the room and walked quickly down to the quiet corridor to the water fountain. His tongue felt thick with chocolate. The cold water would be refreshing. So I'm going to pause right here. It said that he quickly walked down the quiet corridor to the water fountain. Do you remember what corridor means? Corridor. We have corridors in our school at Bates. Right? We walk down the corridors to go to gym and computer class and art and music and lunch and library. The corridor is the hallway. The cold water would be refreshing. He pressed his foot down on the fountain treadle, and a stream of clear, ice-cold water spurted up from the silver nozzle in the white enamel basin. He lowered his head until the jet of water reached his lips. The cold water splashed delightfully against the inside of his mouth. He opened his lips. As soon as the water gushed in, it turned into ice-cold chocolate water, thin and sweet. Quickly stopping the flow, John looked with dismay at the shallow puddle that had formed. It was now draining away into the basin of the fountain. He hurried to another fountain on the second floor of the building, but there the same thing happened. The clear, ice-cold water turned into liquid chocolate in his mouth. When John finally got back to his classroom, all the other pupils were bent over their tables, busily scratching away. Miss Plimsoll looked up from her book as John tiptoed in. She looked at the clock on the wall, looked back at him, and wagged her finger reprovingly. John began on the first of the 4 problems, but he was so worried about the chocolate water that he couldn't keep his mind on his work. By the time he was ready to start the 4th problem, the other boys and girls were already putting down their pencils and straightening up and smiling at each other. Page 60, we're on the 3rd line, says 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go, said Miss Plimsoll. Concentrating hard, John took the end of his pencil between his teeth and began to nibble it. It immediately turned to chocolate. Then he noticed an even more disturbing change. Although he had taken the pencil out of his mouth as soon as the first piece of chocolate had crumbled off, the pencil was continuing to change to chocolate. The chocolate was slowly but steadily moving down the pencil, replacing the wood and lead inside, changing it into a chocolate pencil before John's very eyes. The magic for John now knew that his power must be magic. Was apparently getting stronger. By the time the whole pencil had changed from red, yellow, and black to dark brown, Miss Plimsoll was announcing that only a few seconds remained in which to write down the final answer. "Just a minute," John pleaded. "Shh," Miss Plimsoll cautioned him, holding a finger up to her mouth. "Shh," chorused the slow workers, who were becoming almost excited as John. But John felt worst of all. He felt sure that he could finish the problem and write down the correct answer if only he had something to write with. "But Miss Plimsoll," begged John in a loud whisper, "my pencil's turned to chocolate." "Hush, John," Miss Plimsoll said. "I'll speak to you after the bell." John tried to write with his changed pencil, but the point was too soft, and he only succeeded in making a chocolate smear where he should have written 72. Uh-oh. And that's the end of page 63. Poor John. I wonder if he'll get in trouble for not finishing his test or for turning his pencil into chocolate. So, that is that, boys and girls. Next time we meet, we will be doing chapter 6 and working on context clues in our paper. Now, chapter 6 means that we are right in the middle of the book and we only have about 6 chapters left. So that's exciting. So I hope you've been sticking with us. Could you show these videos to other friends who are in our class, who might be able to get our book Chocolate Touch at the bookstore or at the library? Library would be free. Of course, you can share these with them so they too can read over the summer. Now, next time we meet, it will be chapter 6. I'm working on getting some special guests to read to us, so it's not always me reading. So keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully it'll be some guests that you might know too. So I hope you're having a wonderful summer, and let me see if I can peek in there. I see Makai. Hi, Makai. I see Vincent, and oh, Peyton. I see Peyton again. Hi, Peyton. So hope all of you have a great day and keep reading, not just Chocolate Touch, but all the great stuff. Bye, boys and girls.